Welcome to Veteran State of Mind. Welcome back. Or maybe welcome for the first time. If you're here for the first time, well, you're in for a fucking treat. I'll tell you that. If you haven't heard last Thursday's episode with Justin Oliver Davis, go back and listen to it now. What are you still doing here? I just told you go back. Right. You got to listen to the first part first. We had so much good shit to talk about, or rather, Justin had so much good shit to talk about that I wanted to get him back in. So that's what he's doing here today. And you know what? We're going to have to do another one as well because he's got even more stuff to say. So yeah, we got Justin in for the second time in as many podcasts, but this guy's story is just fucking off the chain. He's just such a beast. He is a beast. You know, like, he's soft-spoken and articulate, but he's got the will of a wildebeest that's been stung on the bollocks by a big old hornet. It's probably not the most gracious description that he's ever had, but man, I wanted to jump in through the microphone and I wanted to hug him and lift weights with him at the same time because he just inspired me thusly. Before we get to him though, please lend me your ears. Please lend me your ears for some words from our sponsors, because without the sponsors, there is no podcast. So thank you, Zulu Alpha Strap Company. Thank you for making this podcast possible. Who are Zulu Alpha Straps and what do they do? I hear you saying. Good question, noble listener. Zulu Alpha Strap Company make bomber watch straps for alley blokes. They're veteran-owned. They are veteran-operated. They make stuff for veterans. They make stuff for serving military. They make stuff for civvies. They make stuff for your fucking cat if it's got big wrists, right? If you spend the money on a nice watch, then go and get a nice strap to go with it. And if you got a shit watch, get a nice strap anyway. You don't even have to have a watch on there. Just put a strap around your wrist. It'll look fucking lovely. So go and get one. Zulu Alpha Strap Company. You want to see some nice examples of alley operators wearing these watches? Then go to Zulu Alpha Straps, at Zulu Alpha Straps. Tell him I sent you. Tell him Big Gez sent you along, and he might do your little discount on the side. I'll put him on the spot now, won't I? But there you go. Tell him Gez sent you, and you're asking for your special Gez Jones discount. At Zulu Alpha Straps. Check them out. And check out our muckers at Camouflage, spelt with a K. Camouflage is a specialist surveillance and investigations company, a brand you can rely on for the professionalism, integrity and quality of work at all levels. Right, let's throw out some hypotheticals here. What if I need someone to investigate this guy who keeps fly tipping on my property. No problem. Camouflage, jump in a bush, sorted. My husband's been cheating on me with this skank from down the street. No worries. Camouflage, jump in a bush, sort it. So as you can see, there are myriad uses for camouflage. Also at camouflage.co.uk, remember spelled with a K, they're also got a bunch of alley kit on there. You might want to get yourself a ghillie suit, bespoke. Have you ever even bought anything bespoke before? Why don't you treat yourself? You know what? I bet a bunch of you out there have got wedding funds, are you saving up, and your missus is like, I got to save up for this nice dress. Well, fuck her dress. How about you getting a nice ghillie suit that you always wanted? So go in that savings account now, take that money out, and go over to Camouflage and get yourself an alley-looking ghillie suit from Camouflage. All right. Now that I've ruined a bunch of marriages, or prospective marriages, hey, look, let's be honest. If you're going to break up, better to do it at this stage. Let's move on to our final sponsor of the day, and we love them very, very much. They are Frontier Risks Group, home of the world's leading practical training course in security risk management consultancy. Frontier Risks Group is an amalgamation of a number of leading companies in their fields, guided by a team who have equal experience and expertise in their respective domains, from security and crisis management, corporate risk, intelligence and analysis, compliance, workplace investigations, trauma response, and training consultancy. As you can tell, if I haven't just listed it, it is not in the world of security. Frontier Risks Group are leaders in their field, so go check them out if you are a veteran or if you're going to be transitioning out of the military. Because here's the thing, guys. Don't leave it until you fucking get out to start looking at what you're going to be doing next. Get ahead of the curve. Look at it now. If you're serving now, get in touch with Frontier Risks. Set something up for the future, right? Check them out. Some of Frontier Risks former students now work as security risk managers, advisors, travel risk managers, security analysis for some of the world's biggest organizations. So what have you got to lose? Check them out at frontierrisks.com. That's frontierrisks.com. Check them out. Head over there now. All right. I've already told you on today's podcast, it's Justin Oliver Davis. So basically, you woke up in the hospital, diffy legs. And no idea where you were. So do you want to paint the scene, mate?
Paint the scene. Okay, cool. I came back, mate, from Afghan, and obviously, it was a med flight, so I'm fully unconscious, and I get back, I'm loaded into intensive care, and I'm in there for like 7 days total. But I think I wake up kind of the next day after I got blown up. I think maybe the day after. I'm not too sure, but anyway. So like, I'm coming round, and I'm I don't know if we covered this before, but did we cover the bit about me dreaming?
Yes.
We did. We've covered that. Cool. You're gonna have to edit it out, mate. I'm sorry.
No, we'll keep it in because I will brief the noble listeners at the beginning of the episode that we start the two together.
Epic. All right, cool. So yeah, so after the dream, so I'm pulling the tubes up from my throat, and I wake up, and yeah, I basically all you can hear is like the beeping machines, and like I kind of barely open my eyes, and you realize at that point that your body is kind of restricted by all these lines and stuff that are supporting your life, but you don't realize this at the time. So I can't move my right arm. I can barely move like my torso, and I can't really move any part of my body really. I come round, and I have this kind of episode where I don't know where I am, and I'm kind of the aggression then comes out, and I get through that bit, so it's a few minutes, and all you realise, mate, is like the machines beeping, like tubes and pipes holding you down, and 4 white walls, and a clock at the end, and a door, mate, and that's it. And there's a window at the end of the room as well that I can see, but it's the blinds are closed. So you're aware that you're not in theatre, as in Afghanistan anymore, or certainly not on the ground anymore. And that moment you're just kind of, I was just in shock really. And when I kind of came round, my awareness kind of it came to me that I was injured, and I just it wasn't the best time, to be honest.
It sounds full Black Mirror, mate. It sounds like a proper Black Mirror episode. Like, it's like waking up like that, and like Twilight Zone for the older listeners who don't have Netflix subscriptions.
It was, mate, and like because you're on all these meds and that, like you don't know whether what you're seeing is reality, and you're hallucinating at some times, and your body is just absolutely smashed to bits. So it's fatigued, it's fighting. You're getting pumped with all these like antibiotics and painkillers and food and fluids, and oh mate, your body's just in absolute rag. So yeah, I mean, do that 7 days down there, mate. It was really just an endurance test. But I've always been positive, and I've always looked at it from a position of gratitude, really, because I know that there were blokes in at the same time as me that were in intensive care for months and months and months. In comas, induced comas, just head injuries, traumatic brain injuries, like severe brain injuries. People that lost more limbs than me, completely smashed their bodies to bits, mate. And mine, I had a couple of fingers missing and my lower legs. And to be honest, in comparison, it wasn't anything to shout about.
Well, I have a couple of questions, mate. First of all, right, I know this is a bit weird.
Go, mate.
Any civvy listeners now are going to be like, what are these guys on about? But was it like, I want to go on that sense of gratitude. Was it a feeling of, oh, thank God it's not my arms, rather than, oh my God, it's my legs? Do you see what I mean?
I don't know if I thought that. No, do you know what, mate? I think I'd have rather it been my arm.
Really?
Certainly, I certainly wouldn't have minded losing an arm. Yeah, if I could have both my legs, I'd give an arm, 100%, because it's just, with an arm, mate, the arms these days that you can fit prosthetics are so much more advanced than the legs.
Yeah.
They don't have to weight bear. They can be controlled, via like sensors inside the arms themselves, and they're attached to your muscles. So you have all the natural kind of almost natural movement of the hand, and you can pick things up, you can hold things, you can flick the V's at people, you can do all kinds of things with it. So the legs are far more difficult to get round, and it really takes a lot of thought processing just to walk.
A friend of the podcast, Paul DeGeldo, has got an amazing robot arm.
Seen it, mate.
Yeah, it's proper good. It's great for choking. Not that I know that from first-hand experience.
Yeah, right.
But no, Matt, it's classic. Mate, the other thing I wanted to ask was, when did your family come into this? Like, at what point was your family allowed into the room and stuff? And were they there when you came around and all that kind of business?
Yeah, mate, they were there when I came round. So they must have just been sat there, mate, pulling their hair out, because it's unclear to them whether you're going to survive or not, and it's obviously it's a truly traumatic time for them, and at that time, I'm still an infantry soldier, so there's still a lot of kind of, we're trained for this, we fight for it, we'll just push through it no matter what. That was the mindset I was in. So I was very harsh to my parents at the start. And I was kind of, I didn't respect them or really appreciate them being there. A lot of time when I woke up first, I was frustrated, like really, really frustrated with myself, and some of that aggression and anger came out towards them, which is, at the time, we're looking back now, it's a horrendous thing for them to experience. But I was in a different place then. For a few minutes when you wake up, they obviously saw the episode when I was kind of pulling the tubes out of myself, like out of my throat, and trying to fight and everything else, and just and they were kind of witness to that, and they were just shocked, mate, completely shocked. And I was when I came round to see them there, because I was just like, fuck.
Yeah, were you like, what are you doing in Afghan?
Yeah, I was like, fucking hell, man, you went on that patrol, where were you? You're meant to be on stag. Yeah, mate. And so probably, I think, day 2 or 3, maybe 4, it gets to the point where you've done all the talking you want to do. You've told them everything about what's happened. You're stable. At this point, that there isn't much chance of me like popping my clogs, mate. To be honest, I'm pretty good at that point. So I was like, look, you got to go. You got to give me some space, because you're just sat there the whole time, and there's periods where you just sat there in silence, and it's just like, I need time to fucking process this, and just let me do what I got to do. I'm alive. I'm safe. I'm in the best place possible. There's no way I'm going to go anywhere now. So just leave for a few days, let me get my head together, and then come back. I
think that's a good point. I just want to jump on that, because I think that's a really good point for things in general. Is because what we always have to look at is our actions that we're intending to be from a place. Obviously, they're doing it from a positive place. They're not like, this is going to wind them up.
Yeah.
But it's but like, dude, today with when I was prepping, I've got a couple of Iraq guests on after you, and I've been prepping, listening to audio books, reading books for them. You need to get a book out, mate, so I can prep better for you. But
yes, mate.
Yeah,
for the next one.
Right, I'll give you a few weeks. And I just said to my brother earlier, I was like, look, no offense, man, but just leave me alone at the moment. Like, I just don't want anyone around me.
Yeah.
Because I just had like people like, oh, what time are we going to the skip and stuff? I'm like, I really don't give a fuck about anything else right now. Like, it's just because it's like people can't see what's going on behind your head. So anyone listening, because this is something that goes for veterans, civvies, whoever. Sometimes when someone's going through something, just leave them a fuck alone. Like, because it's like we have this tendency of thinking like, oh, someone's hurt mentally or physically, let's be a blanket over them. But that can be the fucking worst thing.
Oh, mate, and especially when I just lost my entire independence. So everything about me was trying to regain that, and I wouldn't, honestly, like, at a point I was like, look, you just got to fucking let me do everything that I want to do. If I want to fucking try and brush my teeth, let me try and brush my teeth. Don't try and prepare things. Like, if I can't reach it, granted, get it for me and pass it to me. I'd really appreciate that. But if I can reach it, if I can get it, like, let me fucking do it, because that's exactly the point at where the recovery pathway starts. And I was trying to regain my independence, and that was the only way I was going to do it, was by pushing myself. And that's why I rattled through the process pretty quickly, mate, to be honest.
Did they crack any good jokes?
Who, my parents?
Yeah.
Mate, my dad's classic, mate. Like, honestly, this is he can't listen to this, mate, because he'll hate me. But I've ribbed him for this, mate, since day one, since I got injured, and I do feel a bit bad about it now, because I think it's hurting him. But anyway, I'll continue. So like there was a room full of fucking consultants, mate, and probably like colonels and above, and they're all in the room kind of going through the process and and telling my family, like, what I've been through, like what to expect, what the treatment they were giving me, the medication, how long I need to be on it, so all the detail and everything. And literally got to the end of this like 20-minute 30-minute spiel, and like this, I think it must have been colonel, mate, and he was literally just like, so like, it looked at my parents, he said, so have you guys like got any questions about the whole process? And my mum was just like, no, I think this is pretty clear. This is all, it's all very challenging for us, etc. We're so grateful for your support and everything else. And my dad just fucking went, this is so random. He just goes, yeah, that tower, like in the city centre. He was just like, what's that? What is that? What's that for?
What?
I was like, and it was like, you could hear a pin drop, mate. I said, and I was like, Dad, are you fucking serious? Like, what the fuck are you on about? And he was just, but looking back, mate, I think, my dad hasn't necessarily, I don't think he's able to deal with trauma in the way that I dealt with it, or with the way that my mum dealt with it, or someone else dealt with it. That, I think, looking back, that was his individual way of kind of trying to lighten the mood, and just take the focus away from me, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
But I fucking smashed him for it. I
Oh,
gave
mate,
him,
that's
mate,
fucking
absolutely
funny.
rinsed him for it, and I've rinsed him for it ever since. But like, I feel a bit harsh now. But it was fucking, mate, it was so random.
It's kind of like, I've seen this a lot with parents, or I'm not going to say the mums deal with it better, but they seem to be more on mission.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do.
Whereas
mate.
the dads, I think, like, because the thing is, look, I mean, like, our generation, I don't know, it might be different now with like generations of kids, but like, it's just, you don't like, there's that level of intimacy with a dad that's not like, that's, I don't think is, it's like sports, women, cars, and I like that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like it's a different thing. So so I can see when something's thrust at, like something like you're thrust into that situation where, like,
Yeah.
you might fucking feel like you need to, like, just like you said, just not be able to deal with it.
Yeah, I agree, mate. And at that time, like I alluded to earlier, you're still in that infantry mindset. So it's just like, it's just pure aggression, isn't it? Because you just come from the battlefield, like literally from the battlefield. And in my exact example, I was en route to an ambush, so we were literally fucking where we needed to be as an infantry soldier. So we're about to do the business, to go from there to getting blown up to then arriving back in the UK. Like, I was just full of like anger towards myself, but for the situation I'd let myself get into. So that came out in some kind of avenues. But yeah, you know what, mate, I felt a bit guilty about how I reacted to certain things at that point. And looking back, I've chilled out so much since those days, mate.
Well, staying in those days for a minute, mate. Let's go back in the hospital ward.
Let's stay
I
there.
want to know what is your opinion on, because I never even thought about this before. I've always just considered, it's a great idea bringing soldiers all the way back to the UK.
Yeah.
Like that. Do you think it is a good idea, or do you think maybe like somewhere halfway is the solution?
Oh, do you know what, mate? I've never really thought about that, but like, this is a really, really touchy subject, especially in current climes, mate. But I'm gonna say it. When you come back to Birmingham, it's a multicultural and diverse city, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And coming back to Birmingham, mate, there are a lot of multicultural individuals wandering about in the wards, mate, and some of them are dressed very, very similar to what you're seeing on the front lines of Afghanistan. And
Yep.
I'm not for 1 minute saying there's a link there in any aspect at all. What I'm saying simply is, the dress that people are wearing, the actions and the kind of groups they're moving about in, that honestly had a big effect on a lot of the guys and girls that were coming back that were injured.
Yeah.
And it affected me as well, because you'd have people staring at you, and it would be anyone. It wouldn't be a specific, person from an ethnic background. It would be everyone would be looking at you. But for in particular, when you're seeing people that are dressed like the Taliban in the hospital, you don't know whether you're hallucinating or not, mate. And a lot of the guys, became quite frustrated and quite upset that they were actually mixing with the general population. You had people wandering about in the wards and all kind of stuff. So even though it was a military ward, you still had civilians wandering about, and that for me was, it was quite daunting, to be honest, especially where we'd just come back from.
Yeah, I'll expand on that, mate, because I can offer that an insight into that from a perspective of someone who was not diffy legs even.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, because what you're saying with the drugs there is a very good point, because yes, you can attribute that. Well, one, I'll say that when I went to I had to go to an inquest because one of the lads died in Selly Oak, and so they held it in Selly Oak. I'll tell you this, mate. When I was wearing my number 2s from the hotel to the court, I was getting a lot of stares, and they were not friendly.
Yeah.
Right. And I am in no way, shape, or form saying that everyone from a certain race feels a certain way.
No.
But I tell you what I fucking saw, and that's what I saw. I'm not going to bullshit around that. The other thing was when I went to I lived in Manchester for a while, and when I went to, and this is to your point, I wasn't on any drugs, well, most of the time. And when I walked if I went from the apartment into the city centre, I would end up with absolute crippling pain in my shoulder to the point that I couldn't lift my arm up, because I was so tense to be around all these military-age males and people that were wearing the same clothing. Now, I could tell myself, these guys are not a threat. Your mind's playing tricks. But that your amygdala, as it's, the lizard brain, that doesn't know that. All that's seeing is, hey, the last time you were around people that were dressed in this way, it was beep, 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 beep.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's what your mind's telling you. So I think there's nothing racist about it. It's just like, look, there's parts in our brain we can't control. So the only way we can control it is to control what's around us.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good point, mate, because you have to, like, the way I had to ease myself back through that, and I wasn't I wasn't injured and pumped full of all different kind of drugs. So I think that's a very good point, mate.
I think and also, mate, because you were in a position, you've gone, from kind of, we're all fit young blokes, and we're out in theatre, and we're ready to engage, and we're ready to fight. So we're all at the peak of our performance, well, we should be anyway. But when you come back and you've had your legs blown off and your body is bruised and it's battered and it's broken, you're not the same person anymore, mate. And you can't defend yourself in the same way that you'd be able to if you had your legs. So taking that into consideration as well, being in that environment, it's fucking daunting, if I'm honest. You know what I mean? It really, really is. And you were getting more than dirty stares, mate, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And you had to just be on, mate, it was like fucking code red at times. Do you know what I mean? It was a bit, It was just like, you just had to fucking be aware. And I found some of that, mate, really, really, really quite scary, to be honest. So I wanted to fire through that process as quickly as possible and just get the fuck out of Dodge, and that's what I did. But mate, the hospital staff and everyone else involved in it, I can't be more grateful for, and I am really, really, really fortunate to only get injured in the kind of to the extent that I did. Like I said, there were guys in there that had gunshot wounds to the head, mate, and they couldn't even talk, they couldn't do anything, mate, and very lucky to survive, some of those guys. So
how many blokes were we talking about in there, mate?
It's hard to give you an accurate representation, mate, but I'm just trying to think back now. But so in the ward that I was on, I think there was 8 beds in that ward, and I'm just gonna try and think about how many guys were actually amputees. So there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think 6 of us were double amputees, mate.
Doubles.
And then we had an Estonian guy that had picked up about 5 got sprayed, and he picked up about 5 gunshot wounds. And mate, he was a nice guy. He was really, really sound. We became good friends after that, and he went through Headley as well, which was, it was awesome to kind of bounce off someone from another a military background and another nation as well, and it's great. And just to see the resilience in across the board, it wasn't just British, Estonians as well. So it's great to kind of like bounce off each other, and just that camaraderie runs through the system entirely. He'd got a few gunshot wounds, mate, and he was just like, at least I've got my limbs, I'm good to go. Do you guys need anything? Let me help. Let's go outside. Let's go for a smoke. Let's do this. Let's go for a brew. So it's just these bonds, mate, just got formed like instantly. So that was in my room, and there must have been another kind of, I want to say there's 5 or 6, maybe 7 rooms like that, on the ward.
Have you ever read the books about like Second World War guys who were in hospitals and stuff like that in the wards?
Yeah,
And there's like some about pilots, they've got the old, what is it called, the guinea pig club when they
yeah.
used to when they were first. Have you ever read about those, mate? Because it sounds exactly the same kind of thing, the same kind of camaraderie.
There is, mate, and it's funny that you mentioned the Guinea Pig Club, because there's actually a club that's been started for wounded guys that are, well, I think the criteria is that you've got to be either lifted by Pedro or Mert from the battlefield.
Right, okay.
You got to have a traumatic injury, mate, and it's got to be by dealt with by the enemy. So if you
What happened if you did a dirty dash back in with the Warriors? What if you didn't? Can you be in it that? Can you be in it that way? Because I'm thinking about it. Or is this is an Afghan only thing? Is it?
No, it's Afghan and Iraq, I think. Yeah.
No.
So it might be worthy, mate. If you want to get in touch, I can find out for you afterwards.
Well, listeners, any listeners out there, if you've been on the back of a Pedro or a Mert, or if you got chucked in the back of the wagon and driven back to Cameron, because that was the fastest way to do it in Iraq, because you're only down the road from your base.
Yeah.
Usually, chuck someone in the back of the wagon and driving back in. Although there was an IRT out there, but it wasn't a Chinook. It was it was on a Sea King, and then I think it was on a Merlin.
So that club's called the Kazivac Club, mate. I don't know.
Kazivac Club.
Yeah, the Kazivac Club. And yeah, so it's for British forces, predominantly at the minute, I believe. So yeah, that's where it's at. And they have an AGM every year, mate, which is obviously just to piss up. Just to get together, mate, spin a few dits, mate, and get smashed, basically. But I think what they're aiming to do, mate, is work with professionals, work with consultants, listen and engage with the MERT teams that lifted us off the battlefields, and all kinds of interesting things. So they're working with, I believe it's a SCAR foundation or SCAR Free Foundation. I don't know the exact group, but I know they're working towards helping guys with surgery for further amputations and all that kind of stuff, and they've got donations coming in from various different organizations in the city of London. And yeah, I think it's growing, mate. I think it's the 3rd or 4th year now. But it's difficult, mate, because not a lot of guys want to engage with this type of thing. Once they get out and they realize that actually their lives have changed now, a lot of the guys are choosing not to engage with it. And I don't know why, mate. And I was a little bit standoffish at the start, just because I'm moving in other directions now, and I don't necessarily need my ties to be with the military anymore. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, mate, I definitely do. I had this conversation with myself this morning. Like, I was like, why the fuck am I getting myself wound up about it? I was like, I don't need to do this podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
No, nothing to do with you. But like when I was, I spent, because sometimes I get wound up, mate, because people, sometimes people have an issue about something or things. And I'm thinking, well, I'm putting myself through, like, I get wound up before and after the podcasts. I do the podcasts and stuff. And then I'm like, why the fuck am I, like, why am I keep taking myself back to the military stuff?
Yeah.
Why don't I just, like, leave it? But you know what? You know what it is, right? It's sure it's the same with you. Because every now and again you get the message from somebody that says you helped them out. And that's why you keep doing it.
That's the only reason, mate. And, there was a period where I completely distanced myself from anything to do with the military, because at that point I was still so upset about having to leave it in the way that I did. And I had a lot of resentment, internally with myself, just because I was still so cut up about standing on that IED. But only for my own fault. Is like, and that was the only reason. But
Yeah.
I needed to get through that period to then propel myself forward. And I think a lot of guys need to have a look at doing a similar sort of thing, because people kind of want to hang on to it, mate. And when the line was drawn under it for me was really when I got blown up, and it was like, you're not going to be that person anymore. Whatever hopes or dreams you had of going places, doing things, they're not there anymore. Regardless of what you want, it's not happening. So you really have to draw the line under it and just let it go. And that was really hard for me to do at that period, especially because I was so early in my career as well, and I'd worked so hard for what I wanted.
I bet, mate. Yeah, I was just going to say, mate, like what you're saying there is pertinent to everyone, because some people like yourself will have that forced on them because it's an amputation or, you know, whatever it is, or like broken back or whatever.
Yeah.
Other people will just have it forced on them by time. Like, you'll get to an age where you can't do it anymore. Like, age is going to do what an amputation did for someone else. You can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
And I think that is what's so hard for so many people to accept, myself included.
I really agree. I mean, you got, you know, maybe people in sort of an RSM position or above, and they've been in since they were 16. That's all they've known. You know, I can understand why that would be so hard. You know, I was only in for a few years, and when I had to leave in the manner that I did, it was fucking difficult. So I still had a lot of that resentment that was inside me, and I just had to kind of really, really, really had to work on personal development and finding a new direction. And honestly, mate, I don't even feel like I found my direction yet. I don't even feel like I found it.
I think that's part of the thing, though, mate, is knowing not finding your direction can be almost finding your direction in a way.
I agree.
Because once you understand that, but I want to come back on that stuff, mate. Let's just go back to Headley Court because I don't really know. I'm very fortunate I've not been through Headley Court. So for those of us who have been fortunate enough to not go through there, do you want to just tell us a bit about your time in that kind of process? I'm just going to make a note about coming back on this, finding your purpose. We'll pick that back up.
Yeah, sure thing, man. So Headley, mate, was like my new kind of daily routine, or kind of like it was Headley was still the military, but it wasn't as disciplined. And obviously, mate, there were times when like you'd have a new CSM would tip up, and he would be like, listen, if you're gonna fuck about, then we're gonna get everyone on parade. So we'll agar you and fuck it. We're like, the blokes were like, are you fucking taking the piss, mate? We've got no legs. Listen. I don't give a fuck who you are. You could be the colonel, you could be the fucking RSM. Doesn't matter, mate. We've got no legs. Like, you cannot force us to do things. So there was an element of rogue kind of few guys that were kicking about, and like, honestly, mate, there was a new CEO like tipped up, and she was Raf, and the geezers like got gripped hard because no one would acknowledge her, and I don't know why. Like, I don't know why they didn't acknowledge her, but whenever they were crossing it,
because she's from the RAF.
Yeah, well, there you go. I didn't want to say anything, but
that's why.
You know, she'd be walking down the corridors, mate, and the corridors are not very wide at all. Like, you'd have to like turn to the side to get through some of the corridors. So like the CEO would be coming, and for blokes not to even acknowledge her whatsoever, like she was getting the hump.
I want to explain that something, because some people will be like, it's because she's a woman. No, it's not. It's because she's RAF. And look, again, I want to come back to something that Justin said, because this is important, right? You got to imagine, like Justin was saying, these guys were on the ground doing the biz, right? So your attitude when you're on the ground doing the biz, your attitude is fuck the RAF.
Yeah.
Because and fuck Cobbits and fuck anyone that's like a fobbit. So like Justin was saying, like, you're still going to have that attitude when you come back. It's going to take time to dissipate. So it's nothing before someone's like, it's because she's a woman. No, it's not. It's because she's RAF and Cobbit.
It's absolutely not because she's a woman at all. Because I'll fucking give you like the best reason possible. It's because one of the only reason I'm fucking here today is because a female medic pretty much saved my life. So like, all this fucking sexism, mate, is complete bullshit. And yeah, I that's a real bugbear of mine, mate, because there are women out there that can fucking operate 10 times what some blokes that I know can. So absolutely. So 100%. Yeah, there's no reason why that because she was female the blokes weren't acknowledging it. Is because because it's RAF, mate. And so she got the arse about that, and the CSM and the RSM were just literally just like, look, guys, we know the score. We know we can't fucking force you to do it, but this is still a military establishment. You need to abide by the rules to some degree. Yeah, they were literally just like, we can't control you, but yeah, literally. But mate, you did. It was mutual respect, mate. As soon as they stopped treating us like kids, you know what I mean? Like, we're young men that have just come back from theatre of war, and some of those blokes down there have done some pretty fucking naughty things, you know. So to have someone that had pretty much been sat at a desk for I don't know 5-10 years, like probably dodging a few tours here and there, like to start gobbing off at you. It doesn't matter if you were a rifleman, private, like it doesn't matter like who you were talking to. Like, it was just like, if it's mutual respect, you got on well with everyone. It was fine, mate. So yeah, a lot outside of the discipline and all that kind of stuff. It was really what where I was made, I suppose, and I was I was forged, I suppose, into kind of what I've grown into now. That was the building blocks, I suppose. And so you tip up there, mate, and it's very much like a hospital, but it's depending on which ward you're on. So there's obviously a neuro ward, for all the kind of the head injuries and etc. And then you've got the traumatic, the trauma wards. Most of us are on the trauma wards. But you'd spend time. I spent a little bit of time in the neuro ward because there wasn't any space in any of the trauma wards. Because at that time, 2011, the end of 2011, it was a very, very busy time at Headley Court. Especially sort of after 2009, 2010. It was just constant, mate. Guys coming in, with missing limbs and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, it was a very interesting experience to be on the neuro ward for a bit. It was some of the dits like those blokes would come out with because they wouldn't even know where they were, mate, and what they were doing. So they'd be sat there like smashing tins of biscuits and drinking cups of tea, and just gobbing off at everyone, and it would just be like, to be honest, mate, it was looking back, it was quite sad to see. That these blokes that are in the prime of their life and they're doing the pinnacle work, mate, and they're kind of reduced to the a wheelchair and with a severe brain injury, and you don't know what their life is going to hold for them later on, and that's another position of gratitude, mate. And it sounds terrible, but I'm only going to say this because I present myself in this position to other people as well, and you kind of used those guys and the position they're in as motivation that you should do more because they can't. Does that make sense?
100%, mate. I want to ask you I'm going to ask you two questions here, mate. One of them is going to be really deep, and then I've got a light one to follow it up with, right? So, because I was just thinking about those guys then, and I was thinking, wow, like, I think I'd rather be dead, personally, than vegetable. Do you think that there's something worse than a fate? Is there something worse than for you? You don't even have to go into what it is, but is there an existence for you that's worse than death, or is any existence worth having? I know it's a deep one, mate. But...
No. It's a really good one and it's quite a simple one, to be honest, because like, I think this is probably my limit, like losing both your legs and then having damage to your arm as well. Like, I got off fucking lightly, mate. Let's be honest, I got off lightly, and I'm just so grateful for that. And that allowed me to do what I'm doing. I think that if I'd have lost a couple of arms as well, mate, I don't know, or if I'd have got a gunshot wound in the head and I didn't know what was going on, I'm not sure. Especially if I was wheelchair bound, I don't think I'd enjoy it, mate. Honestly, I really don't. And I'm so fortunate and grateful that I'm not, in that position. And I know people can go on and live fantastic lives, and each to their own. And it is what you make of it. But for me, I don't know what I'd do, mate, honestly, but I'd much rather have no legs. But I think that would be my limit.
Yeah, it's a tough one, man. Right, I'm going to lighten the mood. What was the scoff like in Headley Court?
Rats.
Fuck, was it really?
Mate, it was howling.
Oh, man, I expected that. I thought they'd be like, actually, what am I talking about? This is the military. Of course, my mistake.
Yeah.
I'd have thought they'd be like, oh, these lads have, like... Fucking mate, knowing the military, you're probably eating your own legs. They probably repurposed those fuckers.
Mate, they did, mate. It was like that mince we were eating. That was literally like limbs that had just been just chopped up and smashed back through the system. Mate, it was a real sore spot for all that were down there. It was literally just like, and this is the reason why blokes were getting a lot of scoff sent in, from externals. So and this is a downfall of the system, really, because They could have just fucking pumped a bit more money into it, mate, instead of getting Sodexo down there and got some private company in there to square it away and really brought the standard up to square the blokes away. But they didn't. It was shit for years. Then like that, and to put it quite bluntly, it was fucking bollocks.
So anyone in that area listening, fucking go and open a business next to. If you want to open a pizza shop next to Uber Eats, mate, you'll be wearing gold underpants before you fucking know it. That's fucking disgusting, though, mate. That is disgusting. Like you take, there's a lot of like people don't fit as much money in the army and stuff and the Ministry of Defence. That's fucking bollocks. It's everywhere. Just go and sell off some staff cars, and instead of driving around your fucking staff cars and your nice fucking Mercedes, how about you get a fucking Robin Reliant with fucking Trotters Independent Training on the side? And use that. Or stop using helicopters to fucking fly in meetings. Get up a fucking few hours early and get in a traffic, you cunts. And fucking give the boys some fucking scoff.
Square the blokes away. Fucking
Oh,
hell.
mate, it's not that hard, is it? Shouldn't be
Yeah,
that. Shouldn't be that hard, mate. Shouldn't be that hard.
it's not hard, mate. It's not hard at all. But like, so you had these blokes, mate, down there, and I don't want to name names, but you had a few guys that went in very very slim and slight, and they left there fucking a lot bigger than they went in, basically.
Right.
Um, yeah, which I guess there's so many different reasons for this, mate. And
Mm-hmm.
guys have got issues outside the military, family issues, issues with the military, issues with just being getting blown up, whatever it may be. There's guys that have got huge, array of different problems and challenges that they face, and it and you had guys kind of comfort eating a lot,
Yeah. Yeah, I
and
can see that.
just smashing pizza after pizza, and just because they'd had a large influx of cash, mate, from their compensation as well, they were
Mm.
just spunking it, mate, up the wall. And again, I would look at these guys as well, and I don't know if this is why I'm different or not, but I was just like, I'm not going down that route. I'm not doing it. It doesn't do it for me. Like this time in my life is gonna make or break me, and I need to fucking knuckle down and get into it. Like, and honestly, mate, I was so fucking focused, and I had tunnel vision, and because like do you know what, mate? I was actually really fortunate that another senior rifleman was there at the time, and he actually got injured. I think we covered this earlier, but
Mm-hmm.
he actually got injured in the morning, and we actually went down to extract him from the battlefield. So he was a platoon sergeant, mate, and he was green through and through. Anyway, he was at head at the same time as me, mate, and I just spent the last kind of 2 years in battalion, like kind of under his command in the company. So like you wanted to do everything you could to please this guy because he was fucking, you looked up to them as gods, didn't you?
Mm.
Especially if they were decent blokes and they were going to fucking lead you through battle. Like, and he really would. He was a fucking proper warrior. So to have him at headquarters as well at the time, mate, he would literally be briefing the riflemen like even before we do like a first parade, and he'd be like, "Listen, fucking, we're all riflemen. Let's fucking get into this and let's smash it.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
every fizz session, let's get together and let's fucking hammer it." And that's how it happened, mate. And that's how it happened.
That's really good, mate.
And I was so grateful to have him there, and we really, really, like, all the riflemen just kind of bounced off each other at that point. And I'm not saying the fucking rifles are better than anyone, mate. But what I'm saying is, at that time, we had an individual that kind of united us in our fucking darkest hour. And you said, "Listen, lads, let's fucking get into this. We're here for a reason. Let's just absolutely make the best of what we got." And just every fizz session, mate, we were just trying to outdo each other.
Mm.
Like, and honestly, like, you could see the staff looking around. They were just like, fucking hell, like, they would always notice that we were smashing it because after every session, we'd just be in bits, mate, on the floor, like literally
Mm.
not able to move. And that just had such a positive impact, not only on us as a small group of riflemen, but of the entire kind of class that was in the fizz session as well.
Yeah.
So we kind of made it our mission just to bring everyone up and just to show by action, not to gob off, not to start like chopping off anyone, but just to fucking action, 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 action. And then they watched us progress, and they watched me, progress, like getting onto my prosthetics, and they watched me fly through that process pretty quickly. And it was just fantastic to inspire other people and to be that person that the other guys were looking at and going, you know what, like, if I work to that level, I'm going to be able to do what he's doing. And
Mm.
I thrived off of that. I loved it. I loved helping people in that way. I really did. And it was such a positive cycle. But that's the way I saw it, mate. Coming from the position of gratitude at that point, admittedly, there were times when I was pissed off and I'm stressed and all the other emotions came out. But averagely, I was coming from a position of gratitude,
Mm.
and I was grateful to be in that position where I could actually help and be of use to people, and I thrived. I really did thrive in that environment, and that's what pushed me through, and that's how I got through the process, rapidly. And now, whenever I go back, mate, so I don't know if you know about Stanford Hall, which is the new Headley Court.
No.
So Stanford Hall, mate, Headley Court is in the south of England, and all the blokes that live in Scotland and the north of England have to travel for hours, 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 and hours, hours just to get down there. they're away from their families, and it's nothing like being in Afghan or in Iraq or wherever else, mate. But at this time, they needed to be close to their families, and they couldn't be without hours of travel or duty transport, and it was a nightmare for those guys. So the MOD, the government have come together, and they've done the right thing, and they've moved it to another location in the center of the country, which is great for everyone. So anyway, I've been going up there recently to try and get my prosthetics sorted because I couldn't get them right on the NHS. So I'd gone up there, mate, and I'd seen all the old faces, the physios that had gone up with the move, and I'd seen some of the other occupational therapists, etc., and the PTIs, and they were kind of just like, man, we've fucking seen you since day one. Like we are so impressed. Like, what you're doing now is just incredible. Like you're summiting mountains, you're raising awareness, you're helping other people. They're just like, what you're doing is amazing. And for me, like, 8 years I've been injured now, and it's been such a hard journey, such a long journey. But even to be recognized like that by the guys that saw me at the start is just, it's pure joy.
I mean, that's like a third of your life, right? That's like a third of your life.
Oh, mate. Yeah, I'm 32 now, but it's pretty much.
Yeah, Jesus, mate, that's mad.
Yeah, it is. It really is, man. It honestly feels like yesterday, mate. That got blown up, and
you said something once, mate, that stuck with me. Was that it was that this is the easiest it's going to be for you.
That's right, though, isn't it?
At this age, explain to people about that, because it was a post. I thought it was really. I think that's when I really took notice of you, mate. I was like. I mean, I've been on your page for a few wanks before, like, but then I was like, fucking hell. I was like, this lad's fucking, he's got, hang on, I was tapping my head down, no one could see it. But I was like, not that I say that I get about amputations and stuff, but just the fact that you can't expect things to get easier. Like, this is probably the easiest point in our lives. We're just going to get more stuff on top of it.
Do you know where that comes from, mate? And I appreciate that. It's really kind, mate, of you to say. But it really comes from a position that, as we get older, it's obvious that our bodies are not going to be able to are not going to be capable of things that we hope they might be able to. So I'm fully aware of that, mate. And it's really, as a 32-year-old guy, mate, it's fucking difficult just to get about now on prosthetics. They're heavy. It takes so much. It takes up to three, probably more, but 3 times more energy, than an able-bodied person just to walk about.
Really?
That's on a that's on a completely flat surface. So as soon as you start taking inclines into it, it's horrendous, mate. Honestly, like.
And is that down to levers? Sorry to interrupt, mate.
Yeah.
It's just, this is so interesting. Is that so? That's down to like the leverage of your muscles and stuff, is it? Or like.
Yeah. And it's the muscles are degrading all the time, mate. So.
Right.
When they're when my legs got removed, I was very fortunate at that time to have my full femur, and alongside my full femur in length, I had my quads and my hams and my abductors and everything else were attached in their original locations.
Okay.
So I was so fortunate to have those levers, and I was looked at by the other blokes as like, oh, that's all right for you, mate. You've got like, through knee amputations, but I'll move on to that in a bit, mate, and make a note of that. But I want to talk a little bit about the through knee and then above knee amputations.
Okay.
Yeah, so having my full muscle groups, mate, in their original locations was fantastic for walking and for everything else and for all normal movement. Your muscles are degrading all the time because the forces are not they're not being used in the same way. So if you imagine if you step up a step and your quads and your hip flexors are getting absolutely smashed, right, to transfer that weight in a vertical position. Well, I'm not stepping up like that anymore. I'm kind of stepping up most of the time with a straight leg. So imagine if you just plant your heel on a step and then just drive up through your hip, like you're using your lower back and mainly your lower back and your glute. So that's how I have to step up and walk now, mate. So you're not really using your quads or your hamstrings that much. So they're just degrading all the time. And when they're inside a socket as well, it's hard carbon fiber. They haven't got really anywhere to move. So they're constantly conditioning to their surroundings. But yeah, you naturally lose a huge amount of muscle mass because you're not really using them in the same way anymore. So everything becomes so much harder.
And when you say degraded, mate, sorry, like just to be clear on that, that basically just means like wasting away.
Yeah, your muscles they're just wasting away, mate. They're just
Right.
because they're just not being used in the same way. So you might get more muscle mass. Like I've got more muscle mass in my hip flexors now and in my lower back,
Right.
because it just that's where the forces are being transferred now. So everything about movement changes, and everything about movement has to be planned. Like honestly, like every single step you have to plan.
Wow.
It's like it must be like 80-90% of thought processing when I'm moving is just focused on moving,
Yeah.
and that's just walking across the flat.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you stop thinking about it, you just fall over and you look like a dick.
But okay, I'm going to try and take a positive out of negative here. A lot of people have always got so much shit on their mind that they're never in the moment.
100%.
Has this helped you become more in the moment with everything?
And yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and talk negatively like for the whole time, because that's absolutely not what I'm about.
That's not negative at all, mate.
Yeah, but I just want to reiterate that's completely not what I'm about. But like, for the listeners, but I'm always looking for the positivity and the outcome, and how to move forwards. But yeah, completely, mate, completely. And that's probably why I'm so busy, because I don't have time to think about that shit.
Yeah.
And what is the point of me thinking about that? Like, what is the point? If I'm just constantly sat there like reminiscing, or not reminiscing, but probably sat there in fear, thinking about getting blown up all the time, or what it was like to get blown up, or that 25 minutes I'm laying on the ground, mate, hoping the Taliban don't get to our position and fucking brass me up. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, what's the point in me thinking about that? It doesn't take me anywhere.
But just in general as well, mate. Just in general, it's we spend a lot of time. Just generally, like, a lot of our time is just spent with our mind wandering all over the place. A lot of times rehashing old things. A lot of time worrying about what's in the future. A lot of time, like most of it is never. Like sometimes you'll worry about what could have happened in the past. It's not even what did happen. You're worrying. So
it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. So like we're very. Here at Veteran State of Mind, we're high advocates of meditation, but it's meditation basically just means fucking concentrating on one thing, and that's exactly what you've been doing. So it sounds like your walking is your walking is meditation, because it like meditation focuses your mind on the breath. Usually, yours is focused on the step, and that's a superpower, mate. To be able to concentrate on something like that is a superpower.
No, I agree, mate, and I really do, and it has helped me and focused me. And do you know what, mate? Like now, I haven't found my correct, well, maybe I haven't found my pathway yet, but my kind of journey is opening up in front of me now. And what I need to do is solve problems with prosthetics. And not only because it solves my problems, but it's going to solve like hundreds of thousands of people's issues around the world. And that's why you see me doing those things, online, and what I'm trying to do, currently. So yeah, like, mate, thought processing. You can if you want. You can observe, negativity. You can observe the media. You can let it kind of control you, or you can step back and you can say, "Fucking hold on a minute," like, and actually take a note of what the direction your thoughts are heading, and you can be like, hold on a minute, that's a negative thought pattern. Like, I'm observing that and I'm stopping it, rather than letting it spiral. And I think that's a real skill that people, would be, beneficial to learn for a lot of guys and girls that are especially coming back from theatre,
Absolutely, mate. People in general too. I've done it myself recently. I've got sucked into stuff, and before you know it, I'm ranty McRampants. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm ranty McRampants all the time, but at least I'm usually zoned in on a rant because I've got my mind in one place. But like recently, I've been getting pulled in all directions, and it's taken real effort to get back on track the other way. And one of the ways to do that, mate, has been I've been turning my phone off a lot more. I put out posts now, but no longer then get sucked into comments. I don't comment on other people's pages unless it's a mate. But I'm not going on any saying I think this and that, because you're just going to get sucked in, and that's really important, mate. You know what you brought up there about solving a problem.
Yeah,
that's how you make enough money to buy golden underpants. It really is. So you'll probably so you got the trifecta, mate. You're doing something that you enjoy.
Yeah.
You're doing something that's going to benefit other people, and you're doing something that's going to get you the super yacht. And obviously, remember your mates.
I will, mate.
When you get
it. I know where I come from.
Remember your mates. Proper sesh on the super yacht. Is it like? What's your kind of like? How is this work then? How, like, what are you doing? Like, are you working with partnerships with people, or are you just like, I'm gonna fucking try some mad shit out with my legs, and like, how's it going?
It's a little bit of both, mate, to be honest. To me, mate, I like to solve problems and I like to help people. But if there's an issue, mate, I'm halfway through it. I need to fucking get to the end of it, because if I don't get to the end of it, I just spend all my time thinking about it, and I'm thinking about solutions about how to solve this issue or get through this problem. Um, so I've been doing a lot of it myself, but I recently found these guys on Instagram, and they were kind of making prosthetics for dogs, or actually various different animals, and I was just like, that was really cool. I was like, so I really like animals as well, and I was just like, this is so fucking cool. Like watching this dog, like it's had an amputation, and you're seeing it like in one part of the video, and it's hopping around without any prosthetic, and it doesn't look that happy, mate, to be honest. And then they bang this prosthetic on it, and this fucking dog is just like gallivanting around, mate. And I was just beaming, mate, from ear to ear. And I was like, that is so cool. I'd love to be involved in that. But like, from another point of view, I was like, what that dog is wearing, because it was wearing like a kind of vest that was had the prosthetic strapped to. So the vest would go around the dog's body, it would be strapped across it, so it was very supportive. And then the prosthetic would be underneath the dog, so in where its leg used to be. And the dog just looked so happy, mate. But I looked at this vest and I was like, you know what, that kind of vest structure that dog has got there, that could really like be utilized in what I'm trying to do. So I got in touch with these guys, and they were just like, we would be so happy to help you out. Like, all we've wanted is to get into human prosthetics. Like, we love doing the animal stuff. It's so rewarding, but we really want to like eventually move into the human prosthetics world. And I was like, this could be something. So these guys, mate, a couple of young guys that run their own small design company in the US, the East Coast, I believe. And they're just super excited, mate. They're like excitable little kids, but they're just like WhatsApping me all the time, like, we can do this, we can do that. Like, they're doing all the CAD drawing stuff and then sending me the files, and like I'm printing bits on my 3D printer.
You got a 3D printer?
Yeah, mate.
Gucci
And
fucker.
yeah. But it was all for that reason, mate. It was all for that reason. So I spotted that post, got in touch with them. I was like, what technology is this? Like, what are you doing? What material is that? I was just belt fed them like 50 questions. And they were like, no worries, man. This is cool. Like, and just answered all my questions. They were like, it's this material, that material. Like, we can do this, and this. Like, looking at your page, like, what you're doing is amazing. We'd love to be involved with you. Like, so that's kind of where it's begun. And we've probably been, like speaking to each other for the last couple of months now. And mate, I honestly believe that I'm gonna solve this problem. Like, that. Have you seen my post today? That little yellow thing that I'm wearing on my.
Yeah, the little yellow one. Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, obviously this is very, very first kind of stage, but that's kind of what I'm after. I'm trying to create a foot that's gonna take the pressure from like the impact out of my stumps, because that jumping movement that I'm doing, mate, there was no way I'd be able to do that on the leg, on the foot that I'm wearing on the other side. So it's a much more stable like structure. It's aluminium, it's solid plastic. There's no kind of like give in it at all. So as soon as you jump on that, mate, that force just transfers straight up through the socket, straight up through your stump and into your spine and into your pelvis. And
Right.
it's horrendous. So like, I wanted to solve that problem, because when I was coming down from like descending Mont Blanc and also Kilimanjaro, fuck, mate, it's just like that constant impact on your body is smashing you to bits. It's like compressing your spine, so it's really not good for longevity, mate. And I was like, I need to solve this problem. Like, if I'm gonna crack mountains like properly, I need to solve this problem. So that's where it came from, and that's what I'm doing. It's a very beginning, but I honestly believe in the next year, maybe year and a half, that I'll have something that'll be, that I'll be able to bring to market, and I'll be able to give to, to other amputees in the same position. And that, for me, mate, to see people using my prosthetics would be like kind of a dream come true,
Yeah, it'd be awesome, mate. Plus, super up.
Yeah.
Like, tell people then, because you casually threw in there, I liked it, mate, very casually threw in Mont Blanc and Kilimanjaro, diffy legs.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. Obviously, I've heard that part of your story before, and I think it's fucking incredible, mate. But tell the noble listeners about those. How did they come about, and how was it to do them?
Oh, so I guess we have to cover I'll briefly cover the surgery that I had to put me on this journey. So from day one, mate, when I got injured, like my stumps were classed as a through knee amputation, and at the end of my stump was basically like a clenched fist.
Right.
So it kind of went, it went wider where the fist is, then where the wrist is, it went more narrow. Then as you gradually went up the forearm, like as it was my stump, it would get fatter at the top. So it's like a conical shape, but then with like a bulbous piece on the end.
Okay.
Now to fit a prosthetic to that is an absolute nightmare. So I spent 6 years, mate, of bouncing through different surgeries, getting bits of bone shaved off, to make it a better shape to fit inside the socket. And the socket's just the carbon fiber piece that attaches to the actual prosthetic, and it's the piece that you wear on your leg. So countless surgeries, mate. Like, and every time you go through one of these surgeries, it's like they have to open up the whole stump, mate. They have to expose the end of the bone. They have to shave a bit off, like a couple of millimeters, shave it off, literally shave it off, file it off, whatever. And then they put the stump back together, mate, and you have to heal. And after you healed, you have to learn to walk again. We have to get your prosthetics fitted again. Then you have to start to walk again. Oh, mate, so I went through that cycle like for 6 years, mate. And honestly, I must have built so much psychological resilience during that time.
Yeah,
It was,
I bet, mate.
it was fucking horrendous. It was the worst period of my life, to be honest. But so,
Well, now I feel bad laughing at it.
no, carry on, mate. Quality. But yeah, that's terrible, mate. I was suicidal and everything. But I wasn't. But so yeah, I have these minor surgeries, mate. But each time they were actually a major impact on my life, like a huge impact, And because I was double, it was like, well, do I do one leg at a time, or do I do both legs at a time? If I do one leg at a time, I can stay out the wheelchair, I can hop around on crutches, I can kind of retain some normality during my healing process and not feel stressed about that, about being in a wheelchair and being, my independence is gone. So I was fighting all these battles, mate. I was just like constantly like, what's the best thing for me to do? Like, do I get both done, suck it up, sit in a wheelchair for a few months, heal, get back on my legs, fight through? And I did that, mate, countless times. Anyway, no matter what I did, I couldn't get it right. No matter how many times I had these fucking little bits shaved off my bone, like put it back together, like, and all these times, mate, you're having like, you're having an epidural and all of these kinds of like different medical procedures. It's horrendous for the body. The body's just getting absolutely trashed, mate, like completely. Like all these, drugs in your system, it's horrendous. So to go through that period was just, it was rats. So I get to this point, mate, where there's nothing more I can do apart from like go for more major surgery. So I was like, one night it just became clear to me. I was just like, it's been fucking 6 years, man. Like, I can't keep bouncing through this process. It's really degrading my lifestyle. I didn't have really much of a social life because I couldn't get out. When I was walking, it was so painful. I was just in agony all the time, mate. Like, and I wasn't really that best person to be around. So I was like, I've got to take action. I've got to fucking do something because this is not on. Like, it's not on for myself. It's not on for everyone else. I need to like respect like myself and do this. So I was like, right, I've just got to go from a through knee to an above knee amputee. And like, there was so much stigma around it, mate. As soon as I went in to see my surgeons, and my surgeons were amazing. They were just like, we know exactly what you want to do without you even opening your mouth. I was like, honestly, mate, because they knew what I wanted. They were just like, yeah, we'll do it for you. But they were like, honestly, we can only do one at a time because this type of surgery it's a medium to high level surgery. It's not something that we do very often. There aren't many people that go from a through knee amputation to an above knee amputation. It's usually you want to keep as much as you can, and when you're chopping more off, people are looking at you a little bit, a little look a little out the corner of their eye, mate, and they're like, "Are you really sure?"
You ever see Father Ted, mate?
Yeah.
This kind of reminds me of the Father Ted when they've got the car and they do the little dink. They're trying to knock the little dink out of it.
It ends up absolutely battered.
Yeah, that's kind of
oh my God.
You've been talking through this, and I've just got this picture of that car, just like for your legs. Like, right, we just need a little bit of that. Fuck, all the legs are gone.
Gosh, it's all gone. So yeah, mate, so I went in there and they were just like, we know what you want to do, and I was like, cool, can we do it? They were like, yes, but this is not normal. Like, we know you're not the norm. We know you're not average Joe. We know what you want to do. We've seen you for these 6 years. We've done all these surgeries on you, and we understand the process. Like, yeah, let's do it. So what that meant was they had to chop 4 inches off of my femur, and it takes me from a through knee to an above knee. there are so many different.
4 inches.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So actually, when by taking the 4 inches off, it actually puts the knee center of my prosthetic in a position of where my biological knee was before.
Right.
So it actually makes your kind of mobility a lot easier. So you can wear normal length trousers and all that kind of stuff without it looking like you've got 3 feet long femurs. So because obviously when you've got your full femur, then you've got to put the prosthetic on the end of that as well. So you're probably adding six inches. So when you sit down, you're adding a 6 inches onto the end of your knees, basically.
Right.
So by taking off that 4 inches, I was kind of bringing my legs closer to my body and actually looked more normal.
Gotcha.
So that was the reason for doing it. And also because it gave us enough surface area of the femur to weight bear on. So if you clench your fist and you look at the surface area on the bottom, you can imagine that's the area that the force is spread across inside the socket. Well, as soon as you chop your fist off, it goes from quite a large area to a very small area in your wrist.
Right.
So that was a huge risk, for the surgeons. They were like, we have to connect the muscles over the top of your femurs, and we have to join the hamstrings and the quads together so they actually work. So to go over the bone, it's not wise that you're weight bearing like 100% on the end of that, because the bone is going to push through the muscles, and especially when you're contracting the muscles, like you can imagine you're putting all this pressure on the bone and it's pushing on the muscles, and you're trying to contract those muscles. It's agony, mate, because the muscles are trying to move but they can't because they're being held down by the bone and the weight and gravity and everything else. So yeah, like it was a huge risk to do this, mate, a huge risk. But anyway, I did it and I cracked it. And prosthetists and physios and other consultants and other amputees were kind of saying to me, mate, are you sure? Like, are you okay? Are you sure you're doing the right thing? And I was like, listen, I've got to this point through 6 years of trials and tribulations and a lot of setbacks. And they were just like, but they didn't see that really. They didn't see my full journey as I saw it. They saw it another way. Because from the outside, mate, I was actually quite active compared to those guys.
Right.
Whereas for me, I'm operating at 5%. Honestly,
Yeah.
I was like, this is shit. Like, yeah, this is shit. So yeah, mate. I did one leg, and I was hopping around on crutches while the other one healed, for about 6 months, and then I went straight back in, and I got the other one done. Such a quick turnaround, mate. I barely had any. The first one had only just healed by the time I went in to get the other one done. So it was a really, really slick kind of time scale operation, and it all went really well, to be honest, mate. I'm really fortunate and thankful to my surgeons for allowing me to do that. But 6 months after my recovery, mate, and I've done both of my legs, so I'm now a double above knee amputee. 6-7 months after that, I'm stood at the top of Mont Blanc, and I was like, I fucking told you, like, I fucking told you, I told every one of you that, like, I'm capable. Like, and people were kind of looking at me throughout the years going, yeah, we know he's got the mindset, we know he's strong, we know he's resilient, but can he really do things like this? And I could just see it in him, mate. And I was like, yeah, you just fucking watch me. So as soon as that happened, mate, and I was at the top of Mont Blanc, it wasn't like a two fingers up to people in general, but it was for myself. And I had to prove to myself that I could still do it. And that for me was kind of the closure on that period of my life. And it was, mate, not even towards a summit, mate, but luckily I was on my own, but I was just fucking bawling. I was bawling, like tears were just streaming out my fucking face. And I was just so emotional, mate. And I was just so caught up in it because all that trauma that I'd been through previously just all came out on the mountain. And I was just like, fuck, man, everything I've been through. And I just found myself sat there on the side of Mont Blanc. And I was probably around 4,400 meters altitude. So I was a few hours from the summit. And I was just like, this is fucking amazing. Like, this is the only place I want to be in the world right now. And it was just silent, mate. And the sun was coming up like above, because we were above the clouds. The sun was coming up from below the clouds. And I was just like, that's so fucking weird. That's so fucking weird. The sun is rising from below the clouds, and I was like, this is so cool. Like, and that moment, all that trauma just came out, mate. And I was like, right, bang. There's no way I'm not making it to the summit. And I was just like, bosh, got up there, mate. And it was probably the hardest thing I've ever done. But I got up there. You know, we got up there as a team, and you know, it was without the team, it wouldn't have happened. And I'm very grateful to those guys as well.
Little walk up no Mont Blanc with no legs.
Yeah, well,
No, no big deal.
even though I saw it as the hardest thing I've ever done, it really doesn't. It's not really a standout for me, you know. At this point, it's not really a standout, like because I knew I was capable, mate, because of what I'd been through in the past. There was no way I was not getting to the top, you know. If weather stopped us, mate, but it didn't. You know, there was no way that I would crawl to the top, and I pretty much did anyway. So the guys that organised that, mate, HST Adventures, and they're run by Nepalese veterans, and very, 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 very humble guys, and just awesome, very calm, very knowledgeable, skillful. They've been in the business for a long time, and what they don't know about the mountains, mate, isn't worth knowing. So I was so pleased to work with them, and they did everything they could to get us up there. And the team was, you know, it was so fluid, mate, and it just happened. You know, there are a few sketchy moments on the way down when we didn't have enough water on the way back down, but it was like eating ice, mate, just eating chunks of ice, because it got to that point. It was like, fuck, man, we're like really dehydrated. Like we need to get some ice in us, because it just ran out of water, mate. It was howling. But yeah, so HST are the guys. They're on Instagram, they're on Facebook, HST Adventures, and they came with us on Kilimanjaro as well, and they'll be facilitating Mount Elbrus next year as well in Russia, and potentially going to Nepal with them at the end of this year. COVID.
There's no such thing as COVID, mate. It's ended.
Yeah, no, mate.
COVID's gone now. Just tell them you're doing a protest on the top of on the top of Everest. You'll be all right. Take a placard with you. You'll be sound.
That's a good idea, mate. So yeah, that was that, and really, mate, Mont Blanc was like it was a personal challenge. It was a personal challenge, because I'd struggled through those years. I was like, I need to do something. To prove to myself that I'm still capable, and I'm really can put this behind me and close the door on that period now. And it was, when I went back to see the professionals that told me that I couldn't do it, they were literally like, man, we're actually really sorry that we kind of tried to push you away from that, because we've seen how you've progressed since you've done the surgery. And I was like, I knew that. I was never going to be like, there was never any anger towards them. I was just headstrong, and I knew exactly what I needed to do, and I was very certain about the process I needed to take to get me to where I needed to be, and I did it. I followed the path, and that's what happened. And I got to the top and got back down, and that was the very beginning, mate. That's the very beginning. And then 6-7 months later, then we went to Kili and we did that, and that was a different mountain, mate. It's just it's a bit higher. So, but the walk in is a lot longer. So, we covered nearly 60 kilometers over those, that I think it was 8 days in total. Wow. So it's a long way on prosthetics, mate. It really is, because they're quite heavy, and when you're gaining altitude, you're using a lot more energy, and there's less oxygen, and your body's just fighting to survive, when you're getting higher and higher towards 6,000 meters. So, yeah, towards the top, mate, that was probably another one of my hardest days. Mate, I was having weird experiences at the top. I don't know whether it was a sleep dep or not, but it was just like I was having out of body experiences, man. I was like,
nice.
Yeah,
I like those.
And I was on nothing. Apart from like water and, and like some scoff, mate, some fried eggs. Yeah. So honestly, man, like I was so fatigued, just so fatigued. I think I was just falling asleep when I was standing up. And I was just you have that moment where you feel like you're falling when you're asleep, but you wake up. So I was having loads of those, and I was just like,
right.
I was like, this is fucking weird. I was just like, right, just crack on anyway. Just kept going, and
proper exhausted.
Yeah, proper exhaustion, mate. And it was, we just got absolutely fragged, mate. but it was great.
So were you supposed to be doing one right now? Like, were you supposed to be doing one during the lockdown period?
Yeah, I was meant to be going in July, mate. Meant to be going to July to Russia to do Elbrus,
Right.
and that's just going to be postponed now until 2021.
How big's that one? I'm not familiar.
That's similar to Achilles, so I think it's 5'8",
Wow.
or it might actually be 5'6". Achilles 5'8", 9'5", and that's 5'6", I believe. So yeah.
So will you be trialing out Will you be trialing out these new prosthetic, like the attachments that you've been working on? Will you be trialing those next
There's
time?
going to be, they're very specific, mate, for different uses. So
Right.
I think I'm going to have to design some more for that because it's mainly snow and ice. Whereas what I'm designing at the minute is really for kind of like rocky surfaces.
Right.
So I'm going to have to design, something that enables a crampon to function how I'd like it to function. But these guys in the US, mate, they're so super keen, mate, to like get involved in all of these projects. They're just like, right, like what else do you want to make? What else do you want to make? And they've obviously got the design skills, and the technical ability to actually put that together. And I'm really looking forward to what we can produce. But yeah, I think there's going to be kind of a handful of products, mate, that I'm going to have to design.
Exciting times, bro.
Really exciting, mate. Really, really exciting. Yeah.
Mate, I could talk to you all day about this. Except I can't because we've got more guests here. But make a promise, please, to come back and talk in a couple of months, mate. Let's do another one in a couple of months because there's so much we can talk about.
I'd love to, mate.
With you.
I'm sorry, mate. I've just literally like smashed through it, haven't I?
I love it, mate. I love it. It could
just belt fed you, mate, for an hour and a half.
I love it. Mate, if we didn't have back-to-back guests, then I would love to just keep on hearing about this.
Turn him off, mate. It's fine.
Well, he was in Delta Force. So I'm not going to.
Yeah. Did I say that?
I reckon I can run from you faster than I can get from him.
Yeah, all right. Let's not do that then. Yeah, maybe you should get him on, mate.
Yeah, but mate, thanks so much. I know you've got so much good fucking stuff in your head, though, mate. So let's pull out a nice final thought message for noble listeners. Because I know you've got a lot of fucking good stuff in there, mate. Like I've already told you, I really loved that the one earlier about there's this idea that things aren't going to get easier, so just you need to just basically attack everything with that attitude. I love that. Any other great bits of wisdom before we say goodbyes?
Yeah, mate. Thank you, mate. I really appreciate the kind words. I really do. Just emphasis on that point. Really, it's about future proofing yourself. Have a look to the future. Have a look about kind of how you feel now, where you want to go, and how you're going to get there. But for me, I future proof myself, mate. I'm building resilience now so that when I get to an older age and where I can't be as active, I can look back and I can be like, fucking hell, man, at least I did those things then.
Amazing.
I might not be able to do them now, but I've done them. So and I can be happy in that thought. And that's why I future-proof myself, because I know it's going to get a lot harder.
And that goes for everyone. That's going to happen to us all, whether or not you got fucking 4 legs or 2 legs or no legs. You might have 3 legs like me. You know what I'm saying?
Really, go on, son.
But no, but mate, that's fucking going to happen to all of us. We're all going to get to an age or a point.
I know, mate.
And also, I keep having to tell people this because we do all forget. We are all going to die too. So
yep.
You might want to get out there and do these things while you can. Because they ain't gonna be waiting around. I think people are lazy, mate. They'll just be like, they'll never go up Kilimanjaro, and then they'll put in their fucking will, I want to be spread on Kilimanjaro and get around it that way. The fucking necky cunts.
Well, you know what, mate? People aren't aware that time is really slipping by. And just one final point, mate. I think when I got blown up, mate, it really brought that to my awareness. So I'm kind of grateful for it in one way or another.
100%, man. And I'm grateful, as bad as it sounds, to know people like people take this the wrong way.
Yeah.
By knowing people like you, I get that second hand too.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like that's that second hand. And now, noble listeners, you've got it third hand.
That's right, man.
So keep passing it on though. We don't all have to go through traumatic incidences for everybody to learn from them. That's the thing. Like let's spread the knowledge around. Mate, where can people find you on the interwebs other than my pants?
Yes. So mainly, mate, I'm on Instagram, and that's just Justin Oliver Davis. But I'll be on Facebook as well, the same, Justin Oliver Davis. And my website is www.justinoliverdavis.com.
How do you spell Oliver, mate?
Do you really want me to spell it out?
Yeah, because I genuinely don't know. Like, off the top of my head.
Yeah. O-L-I.
V-E-L. Don't have Welsh people. Don't have Welsh
Oliver.
people called Oliver, but
Fair one, mate. Probably a lot of Davises though.
We've got a lot of Davises, Jones, Dyes, all those. Yeah, no, mate. I just genuinely didn't know how to spell Oliver.
Yeah.
I spelled that right. Mate, thanks so much for coming on, dude. It's been a pleasure. I really want to do another one of these soon. I'm inspired. I want to inspire me. I'm inspired. I might have to trash the studio now doing fucking flips, table flips. And everything. Table flips, all kinds of stuff. Man, thanks so much for coming on, mate. You are inspiration to me, and I'm sure you're inspiration to the listeners. Thanks so much, buddy. We'll catch you next time.
Mate, thank you, man. Really appreciate it. Love to be on, mate, and hope to see you soon. Take care, won't you?
Cheers, brother. Well, there we go, guys. Go find me a more inspiring person than Justin. I'll wait forever. Because you ain't going to fucking find him. What a fucking legend. Doing big things. And we're really happy to have had him on the podcast. And I hope he becomes a regular guest. I might have a bit of a man crush on him, to be honest. He's a fucking inspiring motherfucker. Guys, I love all of you. Thanks for coming along today. Thanks to our sponsors for making the show possible. Thanks for your ears. Thanks to your parents. Because without your parents, you wouldn't be here. If someone had swallowed... or someone had been... All right, let's just cut that one off. But you get my point. Thanks to your parents for not swallowing. And thanks for you lot for tuning in and listening. If you'd like to hear my ranting and rambling on paper as well as on a podcast, then you can catch us over on Amazon. Brothers in Arms. It's out in paperback. Thank you so much for you guys that always supported it. Me love you fucking long time for that one. If you want to go to vsonpodcast.com/books, then we have books from all the guests. If we've had a guest on the podcast and they got a book, then it's on there. So you can get them all. You see them all there in one place. Made it nice and easy for you. You can click on it. If you go in the show notes now, there's a link you can click through. Man. We need to organise a big fucking piss-up, don't we? I love you fuckers. I speak to you every week. What we need is a massive sesh. But anyway, I'll get working on that. It's going to be called VSOM Live Part 2. And it'll be a big sesh. Oh, man. I'm just really grateful. I'm really grateful. I'm really inspired by Justin. I really am. I can't tell you guys how much. I'm looking forward to getting back home now and cracking a good fizz session. He has thoroughly motivated me. Thank you, Justin, if you're listening to this bit. Yeah. Wow. All right, guys. Let's all go out there. I'm sure you're as motivated as me. Whatever you're doing this week, give it your absolute fucking utmost. Because you're never going to get another chance. This week is never coming around again. So get out there and fucking smash it, you dirty slags. I'll catch you next time. Love you. Bye.
Yeah. Listen. Shout out Teaser. You told me not to worry, and you wouldn't break my heart. You told me you were sorry, yeah, my whole world fell apart. You said it's not my fault, and yeah, I've never done you wrong. I'm grinding to a halt, now I can see you're moving on. I promised I'd get better, and I told you things would change. You keep me to the gutter, yeah, I'll never be the same. I've gotta let you go, now live your life and spread your wings. And yeah, you put on quite a show, and pulled the puppet strings. And are you sure that you don't want me? Remember all the pain, or maybe you should thank me. It's your loss and my gain. I'm leaving now forever, I won't hang my head in shame. But yeah, you've taken me for granted, and you should feel ashamed. You sold a dream to all of us, a dream that we'd all die for, a reason for us all to live and something we could fight for. I might just help a man up to his feet or hold a newborn, but no matter what I do, my hands remembering my rifle, yeah.
Life's hard, I know that, still wouldn't change shit. I wouldn't go back, yeah, I wouldn't go back. Feelings I hold back, memories fade, yeah, they go fast, yeah, they go fast. Good times to come and go, survive the highs and lows, just take it step by step, I guess, yeah, I suppose. Good times to come and go, survive the highs and lows, just take it step by step, I guess, yeah,